Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Thank you for tuning in. At the time of recording this, we are just over 50 days away from the next Bitcoin block reward halving, which occurs approximately once every 4 years, or to be more exact, 210,000 blocks. Before I continue, I want to show you this really cool website that I came across. It's called Fiat Sleek, and I saw this a couple of weeks ago on Ivan on Tech's channel. I recommend checking him out as well. So it shows the money flowing into the various cryptos, in this case Bitcoin, going into different countries around the world in real time. And the wonderful thing is it covers all of these different cryptos. So we've got Ethereum, it's XRP, and if you scroll down the list there, you've got an assortment of cryptos, well, particularly the major ones. So I highly recommend checking this out if you want any further information. They also do some news articles as well. But let's go back to Bitcoin, or the block reward halvings. Let's scroll down. So to backtrack slightly, for those who are new to the space or not very familiar with how this works, for every block of Bitcoin that's produced, miners receive, at the moment, 12.5 coins per block. As part of how Bitcoin is structured and the network, every 4 years this reward is cut in half. So as of, it would be on the 13th of May if everything goes to plan. The block reward will be cut from 12.5 to 6.25, and then in another 4 years that will be 3.125, and so on until we get to zero. It says here by roughly the year 2140. Now a reminder before I continue this video, none of this is financial or tax advice. The opinions expressed in this, or the information presented throughout this video, is either from myself or from the authors listed or the quotes provided. So please always do your own research before investing, and I am not a financial advisor. And this ties in with the fact that we have a fixed supply of Bitcoin. There'll be a maximum of 21 million, and I think it's 3 to 4 million of those are lost forever. I will double check that figure and provide some articles in relation to that. But here is a graph for those not looking at the screen. It's showing the relationship here between the inflation rate and time. And as we can see, we're getting a significant drop in the first few years in the inflation rate. It is currently 3.66% per annum, and at the next halving it's going to be dropping to approximately 1.8% per year. And now this is significant because Bitcoin's inflation rate will now be lower, or at the time of the halving, will be lower than the US, UK, Australia, and various developed countries. Now I think the Eurozone is lower than that. I read somewhere that was about 1.2%. Let's go down this article here from News BTC. Just pointing out a couple of things here. So focusing on inflation, and this is from an analyst whose name has not been disclosed. Just drawing your attention to this quote. Currently 1,800 Bitcoin are generated every day, leading us to an annual inflation rate of approximately 3.8%. Next year, this will halve in amount and put Bitcoin's inflation rate at roughly 1.9%. Bitcoin will have a fixed inflation rate below the USA, UK, Australia, and many other developed nations. This is the first time Bitcoin's inflation rate will be lower than a large majority of developed nations. This to me is the biggest economic reason to hold Bitcoin. And ending the quote. More info in the rest of this article. Just as a side note, I encourage you all to read these in further detail. All of the crypto news websites in my videos have given me prior written permission to use their content. So in return, I try to read as little as possible from each article from various sources, so that you are encouraged to visit these websites directly and check out the rest of the articles. Jumping back to the block reward halving countdown, I want to scroll down to the historical price data here. And this is courtesy of TradingView. If I'll click on this to enlarge it. There is a trend where a few months to a year after the first and second Bitcoin halvings, we've seen a huge jump in the price. For those not looking at the screen, the first halving on the 28th of November 2012 saw the price at $12 to $13 per Bitcoin. So by the end of 2013, it got to just under $1,000. That's a massive jump. Just some food for thought there. And then if we fast forward, go to 2016, so the second halving, and I've written the 9th of July 2016. The price, just looking at this graph, that was approximately $800 thereabouts. And then if we fast forward, well, we know 2017, that was a year where we had that incredible growth. It started 2017 at just under $1,000, and then it rose to just below 20,000. So that's a 20k increase in 12 months. And as I mentioned, the halving, so that halving was, so July 2016, and then here where the cursor is, that's December 2017. Now the positive sign is that after the halving, the prices never went back below the previous halving price. It's not a linear scale, but nevertheless, it really emphasizes the amount of growth that occurred in such a short period of time post-halving. Now, the economic situation globally at the moment, as we know, is looking fairly grim. But if we look at the prices, and I will discuss this in further detail towards the end of the video, but Bitcoin is approaching $7,000 once again after dropping to, it was the high 4,000s just over a week ago. Let's have a look at the price data at this graph instead. It's hard to tell how much higher the price will go, or will it dip any further than what it did, so just over a week ago when, as I said, it went just below $5,000. My personal opinion, not financial advice, I highly doubt it will dip any further than what occurred in December 2018, January 2019. The price got down to the low 3,000s. Realistically, I don't see it going below $4,000 because there is such an overwhelming interest in Bitcoin, and every time the price drops, it gives people more of an incentive to buy in. And in relative terms, it's fairly cheap compared to what we experienced at the end of 2017. Anyway, you be the judge as I go through this video. Now, moving to this piece from the Daily Hodl, there's input from Willy Woo. So this, just for your record, or for the record for those not looking at the screen, it's titled, Top Crypto Analysts Forecast Bitcoin's Future Warns of Potential Unknown Unknowns. His name has been mentioned quite a bit over the past couple of years, and just some of the key points here. Willy Woo of Adaptive Capital says he's not surprised to see the leading cryptocurrency dump alongside traditional markets amid widespread fear, uncertainty and doubt, otherwise known as FUD, about the global economy. He's not convinced that Bitcoin has hit a bottom. Okay. However, Wu believes Bitcoin's fundamentals remain strong, fueled by interest from millennials, who famously would rather visit the dentist than listen to their banks, according to a 2014 survey. And in a direct quote, he says, "Dump then moon. We are undergoing flight to safety right now. Bitcoin is looking for its bottom. But know that once the bottom is in, there are strong bullish pressures ahead. It's this economic environment in the years ahead that Bitcoin was built for." And he continues there, and some further information in this piece. So there's that perspective. News BTC has also chimed in, fairly fresh off the press as well, titled, "Bitcoin's bullish fundamentals may not be enough to stop a violent sell-off. Here is why." Now, to give a more optimistic view of this, I came across this article, and it features famous billionaire venture capitalist Tim Draper and his prediction that the price of Bitcoin will skyrocket to $250,000 per coin post-halving. So let's go down and have a look at some of this information. Other key aspects of this article, it says Draper's projections are in line with Bitcoin's historical trend. Draper correctly predicted the crypto winter bear market of 2018-2019 in September 2018. To date, he's made over $200 million. Now, that is quite a fortune that he has amassed. And then it talks about this auction back in 2014 where he accumulated 30,000 Bitcoin. Here is an interview with the man on Block TV. This is a tweet back in December last year. I can't play it for copyright reasons, but feel free to check that out. I mean, he's not an oracle, but he has a track record of making accurate predictions. Now, other than the bear market that he called back in 2018-19, in 2014, he anticipated the price, or the Bitcoin price, to go over $10,000 within 3 years. Now, just to draw your attention to the prices once again, so back in 2014, it was less than $1,000. So fairly ambitious when you consider throughout most of 2014, the price based on this between $400 and $700. To say it's going to hit $10,000 in 3 years, yeah, people would have found that far-fetched, but guess what? That's exactly what it did. In fact, it went beyond that. Who knows what's going to happen? And in that tweet I just spoke about a minute ago, it said he anticipates 250K per Bitcoin by late 2022, early 2023. Anything is possible, and the fact that it's got this limited supply makes it more enticing, and people over time, I imagine, would be moving money away from current investments and assets and gradually putting it into Bitcoin, especially with what was mentioned before about millennials transferring wealth. Before I go into the market update, just wanted to touch on some of the data relating to fundamentals, or specifically thinking of the hash rate. It says here back in 2012, and as a side note, the hash rate, so in very simple terms for those who aren't familiar with it, the hash rate refers to the speed at which the mining computers can operate. Back in 2012, it says here Bitcoin's hash rate was at 22 terahashes, or trillion hashes per second. But if you fast forward to when this was written back in early December 2019, it's saying this figure is now 5 million times less than what we have at present, which is 100 exahashes per second. Just a reflection of how much more powerful the equipment is to mine Bitcoin. A great resource from Decrypt Media. Moving over to another piece which gives you additional info about this countdown. Brave New Coin has this article. Just scrolling down to this information about the hash rate, just some more recent information about the hash rate trends. So this is back from the 1st of January 2019. So it was at 40 billion terahashes. Now, as was mentioned in the last article, it's about 100 exahashes or 100 billion terahashes present, although when at one point it got up to about 140. It's showing the complexity of all this machinery to mine the Bitcoin. And once the mining reward halves again, it's going to be more of a push. I assume this will just continue to increase even further. I don't know to what extent. This ties in with how for many miners to stay viable, they will rely on the Bitcoin price to increase, ideally double, to then be able to compensate for the halving that will occur in just under 2 months. So a lot of unknowns. That's all I'm going to say in regards to the Bitcoin halving. There's a lot of info I could cover, but for brevity, I just wanted to give you some insight into that. Just going to refresh the screen and let's have a look. So Bitcoin is at $6,625, Ethereum at $138 per Ether, XRP back up to 16 cents. Going down the list, Litecoin just below $40 per LTC. As a quick side note, other than the Bitcoin block reward halving countdown, Litecoin has its equivalent. Just thought I'd show you. EOS at $2.32. Binance Coin at $12 per BNB. Tezos is approaching $2 once again. Stellar at just under 4 cents. Chainlink at $2.28. $45 per XMR. Cardano at just under 3 cents per ADA. Dash at just under $69, Neo $6.74, Zcash $32, and a couple more. Basic Attention Token or BAT at 13 cents, VeChain at just under 0.3 of a cent, and other cryptos there at CoinMarketCap. I thought I would end with something a bit light-hearted. So in May, it's not just the upcoming Bitcoin block reward halving, we also have the annual Bitcoin Pizza Day, which is celebrated on the 22nd of May every year. And for those who are wondering what on earth I'm talking about, so back in 2009, when hardly anyone knew about Bitcoin, Laszlo Hanyecz, pardon my pronunciation, an early adopter of Bitcoin, offered 10,000 BTC for 2 pizzas. I repeat, 10,000 Bitcoin to purchase 2 of these. And scrolling down, just to give you an idea what they would be worth now, for those who love pizza, and if you don't, I'm very disappointed, 5 million pizzas. So a single Bitcoin would buy you a year's supply of pizza today, at the time of writing this article, depending on where you buy it, and I guess the quality. Effectively, Hanyecz could have purchased over 5 million pizzas if he had waited. That's why patience is key, my friends. That's why your parents said put the money in the piggy bank and wait. Look, I'll let you read the rest of this article for your reading pleasure if you're interested. Anyhow, the rest of the information there. I thought I would give you something a bit more light-hearted, especially considering what is happening around the world, and it's difficult for many people, and I hope you're all doing okay, but I just thought I would share that. What Bitcoin was being used for 10 years ago. If you like my content in general, well, I recommend hit subscribe, smash the bell icon as well, and share this with anyone who you believe will find this useful. What do you think of the information throughout this video? What will happen with Bitcoin post-halving and at the end of this year and going into 2021? I know that's still 9 months away, but time flies by, to be honest. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like as well. If you have something to say or you just want to say g'day, leave your feedback in the comment section. And I hope you're all having a wonderful day, or morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Plenty of other videos that I have available for you to check out, to keep yourself informed about different crypto projects out there. I highly recommend checking these out, and of course the websites that I spoke about. Thank you very much, and I will speak to you soon. See you.